Ever wondered how network administrators keep systems secure and running smoothly? Well, it's a fascinating world that goes beyond just setting up and managing networks. One of the crucial aspects is network reconnaissance, a process of observing and collecting data about a network. Network administration involves maintaining the integrity and performance of a network and its systems. But what's critical in keeping these networks safe is the art of reconnaissance. It's like a stakeout, where admins survey their networks, identifying any potential vulnerabilities that could be exploited by malicious entities. But it's not just about gathering this information. Interpreting the results is equally important. It's like reading a map, where each data point connects to form a clear picture of the network's overall security. This interpretation helps administrators reinforce the network's defenses, keeping it secure from potential threats. So, are you ready to explore this captivating world of network administration? Let's dive deeper into the process of network administration reconnaissance and how to interpret the results. Network administration reconnaissance sounds like a mouthful, right? But let's break it down and see how it's not as complicated as it sounds. At its core, network administration reconnaissance is a four-step process. The first step is scanning the network. This is like taking a bird's-eye view of the landscape. We're looking for all the devices connected to the network. Computers, printers, routers, you name it. It's about mapping out the digital terrain and understanding what's where. Next, we identify active hosts. Not all devices on a network are always active. Some may be switched off, some may be idle. Here, we're zeroing in on the devices that are currently up and running. Think of it as looking for the lights that are on in a cityscape at night. The third step is scanning for vulnerabilities. Now that we know which devices are active, we need to understand their weak spots. This involves looking for outdated software, weak passwords, and other potential security risks. It's akin to checking the locks on every door and window in a house. Finally, we gather additional information. This could be anything from understanding the operating system of the devices to the type of services they are running. It's the equivalent of knowing not just the layout of a house, but also who lives there and what their daily routines are. So there you have it. From scanning the network, identifying active hosts, looking for vulnerabilities, to gathering additional information, network administration reconnaissance is all about getting a clear, comprehensive picture of a network's security posture. It's like being a detective, piecing together clues to understand the bigger picture. Remember, the goal here is not just to find potential problems, but also to understand how to fix them and prevent similar issues from cropping up in the future. It's about being proactive, not just reactive. Now that we understand the process, how do we make sense of the results? Interpreting the results is where the real fun begins. Now that reconnaissance has been conducted and data has been gathered, it's time to delve into the exciting world of data analysis. Correctly interpreting the results of network reconnaissance is not just an important step, it's a critical one. It's akin to translating a foreign language. You've been handed a book filled with symbols and codes, and it's your task to make sense of it all. What does this data tell us about the network? What potential threats lurk within the information that has been gathered? To begin with, it's essential to understand that not all data points are equal. Some might be red herrings, while others could be crucial pieces of the puzzle. It's about finding patterns, anomalies, and inconsistencies. For instance, are there any unexpected open ports? These could be potential entry points for malicious actors. Are there any unknown devices connected to the network? This could indicate an intruder. It's like being a detective, meticulously sifting through the data to uncover potential threats. Next, consider what this information tells you about the network's vulnerabilities. Perhaps you've discovered that certain security protocols are outdated, or that firewalls are not as robust as they should be. This information is gold dust, as it allows you to pinpoint the areas where the network is most vulnerable to attack. But it's not just about identifying threats. It's also about using this information to enhance network security. By understanding where the network is vulnerable, you can take proactive steps to bolster its defenses. This might involve updating security protocols, closing unnecessary open ports, or even implementing new security measures. Remember, the goal is not just to identify potential threats, but to use this information to create a more secure network. It's about turning the data you've gathered into actionable insights. In essence, interpreting reconnaissance results is like piecing together a complex jigsaw puzzle. It requires patience, analytical thinking, and an in-depth understanding of network security. But when done correctly, it can provide invaluable insights into the network's security posture. Interpreting the results correctly is essential in maintaining and enhancing the security of a network. Through careful interpretation, we can turn raw data into a powerful tool for safeguarding our digital world. To better understand this process, let's consider a hypothetical case. Imagine a company, let's call it TechLight. They've recently expanded their operations and their network has grown significantly. They know that with this expansion, their network may be vulnerable to potential security threats. The network administrator at TechLight begins the reconnaissance process. They start by scanning the network, identifying all active hosts. They find a plethora of devices connected to the network, including servers, printers, and personal devices of employees. The administrator takes note of each active host. Next, they scan for vulnerabilities. They discover several outdated software packages on some servers and a few weak passwords among employee devices. These are potential entry points for cyber threats. The administrator doesn't stop there. They gather additional information such as operating systems in use, open network ports, and services running on each host. This granular information paints a more detailed picture of the network's security posture. Now comes the interpretation of the results. The administrator identifies those outdated software packages and weak passwords as high-risk vulnerabilities. They also note that some servers are running unnecessary services, which could be potential security risks. Armed with this information, the administrator takes action. They schedule software updates for the servers, enforce a stronger password policy across the organization, and limit the services running on the servers to only those that are necessary. Now, TechLight's network is more secure than before, with less potential entry points for threats. The administrator continues to conduct regular reconnaissance to maintain this level of security, ensuring the company's network remains a hard target for potential cyber attackers. This case demonstrates the power of network administration reconnaissance. It's not just about finding vulnerabilities. It's about understanding the network's security posture and making informed decisions to enhance its security. Remember, effective network administration reconnaissance and correct interpretation of the results can significantly enhance the security of your network.